And welcome back, everybody. I'm here with Blessed, and we are doing the FAQs today from the community, and we're going to answer them.
Yeah, diving right in. Looking
Right?
forward to it.
Yeah. So, a person that asked this, they notice strange synchronicities. They notice as well they're shifting emotionally themselves, growing sense that something has changed fundamentally. They look up into spiritual awakening. Sure, that's what's taking place for them. Many things don't resonate with them as much. So the thing they enjoyed before, they don't necessarily enjoy them as much today. They don't see the point.
Okay.
They'd like to know basically, how do you know you're actually going through an awakening, if that is what that is?
Okay. Well, speaking from my own experience on the matter, I lost interest in a lot of things that used to bring me joy. Vapid entertainment, especially, seems to be the first one to go for me and others I've spoken with. But if you're giving up things that were kind of fundamental to your personality before, and they're just not gelling with you anymore, they don't resonate. And it's not a matter of feeling ways about it necessarily. It just kind of falls away, and you just kind of recognize, like, oh, that just doesn't do it for me anymore. Like it can be. It can also just, I guess, this can be associated with like personal growth. For example, you can just have shifts of interest throughout your life, and I'm sure whoever wrote this has probably experienced that before. But with regards to awakening itself, yeah, if you're not just if you don't find a label that fits with what you're experiencing by going and seeking, that's okay. I actually didn't either. When my interest first started shifting away, I went into learning about history as it actually happened, or at least as far as we can tell, because I still don't feel like the answer is ever going to be something I can find on the outside, but that's a whole other bag. But it also took me down the path of spiritual enlightenment, if you want to put it that way, or awakening or remembrance. And I couldn't find, like, for the longest time, it just felt like I couldn't really gel with any of it. This channeled work, that channeler, this person, it just, something about it just, my brain wasn't ready for that. I was still very, very in left brain territory. So eventually I stumbled across one thing that did. And the only reason I found that is because I kept a willingness to learn about these things without getting obsessed with finding it. Because every breakthrough I've had has been when I stop obsessing. So I'm not saying you're obsessing, person who wrote question, but that can be part of it. If you just if you're willing and you know that something's shifting and you have questions, you can ask those questions honestly and put them out there, and then just be okay with whatever answer you get when you get it. It can be kind of frustrating if you want an answer now. I understand, but yeah, that'd be kind of my quick hot take on that, at least given my personal experiences. It absolutely could be a shift towards your awakening. Yes.
I think what I'm sensing through that question is that that person's actually asking themselves, most likely, if it's them growing out of things. You always hear all the time people saying certain things, you just grow out of it, and it is what it is. Like when you used to play as a kid, certain things, and then reach a certain age, and now you're like, well, you're not interested about it. Is it
That's true. Model trains don't do it for me anymore. So,
right? But is it? But it's funny because some adults still play with it, do it, and then,
exactly. And
so
that's a
is it?
perfect
So the
point.
question is it because you told that you shouldn't, and you through believing it, it became your reality, or is it truly because you're having an awakening? Because I think what's happening to a lot of people, it's not knowing is if it's them, truly them being like, I think I'm done with that, or if
Yeah.
it's like, okay, there's something wrong, something's going on, something up. And often when there's something up like this, we can explain, we say that there is something wrong. So I think
There's a
that's
good
really,
distinction to be made there.
yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's really the question they probably wanted to ask about, like, is it me, or is it actually a phase when that happened, when people are awakening? Because
Mm.
they probably looked up and say lost passions for life or whatever they asked, and then probably stumbled on that you're having an awakening. Because that happened to me. Like, there's a lot of things that I was like, I don't know, these things I love to do. I mean, I thought I loved to do, but like, I'm not doing them.
I thought you love to do. Hmm.
Exactly. So I was
That
like,
might be the distinguisher right
yeah,
there. Are you doing it for you, or are you doing it to fit in? Are you
right.
doing it because somebody else told you it's what you're supposed to do? If those are falling away, then that's almost certainly a sign that you're growing
Well, what was funny for me,
in that way.
my own experience, what I've noticed is that um, I love music, and I've been a music producer for the longest. And And when I had this so-called burnout, for me, it came across as a burnout
Mm-hmm.
because I was working in the industry, and they used to do like a high turnover of tracks, so you have to produce a lot of tracks even when you don't feel like producing. And for me, it wasn't so much. I realized what it was, and I was like, I'm an artist, and that goes against even my own makeup. Like, that's never how I wanted to do it. So it wasn't so much for me that I did not want to do it anymore, but I just didn't want to do it like that. But then it came across as a burnout, but turned out that it was basically an awakening that was taking place by showing me that I don't want to do this thing that way. Not because I lost passion, it's just I had no passion doing it that way.
Yeah, yeah, because your spirit, like your creative spirit, or if you want to put it that way, or creative drive, creative passion is.
Oh, we got
Hey, Corey,
Corey. Hey,
welcome.
Corey.
What's
Are
up?
you?
Can
What's
you
up,
guys
man?
hear me?
Yeah, we
You
can
sound
hear
good,
you. We can
dude.
hear
All
you.
right, good,
Yeah.
good, good.
We were
good.
just discussing the merits of awakening. How you know when you're awakening? Like if you're losing interest in past things, does that mean you're
Mhm.
awakening?
Mhm.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
just
So,
in the
well,
middle.
first of all, let me apologize for being late. I literally was in the studio waiting for y'all, and my daughter threw up on the floor, so I had to go
Oh,
clean up a mess.
Okay.
So I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
But anyway,
That's so good.
I think she got like a little stomach bug or whatever.
dear.
But
All
yeah,
right.
thank God it was just watermelon, because had it been anything else, I wouldn't have been able to clean up, or I would have threw up. I can't.
Oh,
I
Yeah.
can't
No, I
keep
okay.
can't be
throwing up.
around puke, dude.
If
Oh, I
I
can't do
see
that.
that, I'm gonna throw up. I was like,
Okay.
as I was cleaning it up, I was like, ah. So yeah, but so I apologize for being late.
Oh
Yeah,
no.
that's so good. That's so good. How can you be late, really? Time is
Yeah,
nothing, isn't it?
yeah, that's
Right?
true.
That
Honestly, you walk
Are
you
you really late?
you just got your Kramer intro right there. Like you just walked in the door and the audience clapped as you walked in,
Yeah.
fashionably late to the scene. You know.
the question is this: how do you know you having an awakening? Because you get in this situation where you may have
Mm,
lost like the zest for life, or you're not so passionate about certain things you used to be passionate about
mm,
or used to do.
mm,
And is it because you grew out of these things? Is it personal growth, or is
mm,
it awakening?
mm. Oh, that's a great question. That's funny because yo, we talked about synchronicity last time. It's funny because I was having a conversation with one of my people on Patreon, and we were kind of talking about this thing. And you ain't gonna like my answer, of course, because I'm never gonna answer it in a way that it's gonna coincide with the mainstream school of thought. But everybody's awakening is different. Awakening doesn't mean you have to rid yourself of the experience that you purposely came here to have. Prime example, I still love football. I ain't gonna quit watching football because I had OBEs.
Right.
Matter of fact, I enjoy it now even more because I know it's just part of the fun of being here. That's the one piece of enjoyment I get out of being here.
Yeah.
And whatever it is, that's yours. So whether it's I still watch movies, yo, bro, we are dangerously close to this becoming a religion.
Mm-hmm.
And when you start telling people, oh, awakening looks like this, or they need to do this in order to be awakened, now you're telling people what to do, and now it becomes a religion.
Real.
Do whatever the fuck you want. I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm here to tell you go see on the other side, find out what this thing is all about, and then you. And it's funny, I mentioned the conversation I had with one of my members. We were talking about the phases that we went through as we had the OBE. So when I first had my OBE, first few times, like now I'm depressed. I'm like, yo, why the fuck why am I here? Like, I don't want to be here. This shit is trash. Because I know what I know. Then I found purpose in telling my story and helping other people have these experiences. And even outside of OBE, just like right now, I'm teaching a series on religion and how the Bible is fused with Sumerian texts and how all of it is a distortion to keep us enslaved. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because of the out of body travel, it opened it up so that now I can explore these other avenues. So my awakening went from wow, this really is real to it's so real that I don't want to be in this version of real to, you know what? I'm here. So unless you go self-select to go home, which I'm not telling people to do that, and I'm not telling people not to do that. You do
Right.
whatever you want. But if you're not doing that, then you might as well learn to enjoy the experience that you personally said, I'm going to go down here and have.
Yeah.
So why deny yourself of any of the pleasure
Sure. Well,
of the experience, whatever you consider pleasurable?
and when you say yes to it, it starts getting better. I mean,
Yeah,
some of the old might fall away, as this
yeah,
question alluded to. Maybe some of your
yeah,
old interests that
yeah,
you were doing just to
yeah,
appease people or that weren't
yeah.
really you just fall off.
Well, you
But
start figuring out what you want
yeah, who are
out of the
you?
experience. Who are
Who are
you
you
and what you want out of
authentically?
yes, correct.
Yeah. Yeah.
Correct. And that's the awakening. The awakening is nothing has nothing to do with podcasts or being anything external. The awakening is in here.
You know what
Who
you
am
just
I?
reminded me of?
Yeah.
Actually, so that you remember
What?
that before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. It's an old
Yeah.
Buddhist saying. Dude, take that and be like, before
That's
enlightenment, chop
it.
wood, carry water. After enlightenment, fuck chopping wood, fuck carrying water,
Okay,
because I don't
water.
want to. I'm gonna go watch football.
I'm gonna go
Like,
watch football. Like, okay. And listen, because they didn't have football back then, maybe that was their football chop wood, carry water. So again, I think, like I said, we're dangerously close to this becoming a new religion to where people are now trying to find ways to infuse this with old distortion. If you come from a religious background or your whole experience has been framed and shaped by religion, now you into this new thing and you want to bring that into it. Like I had somebody asking me, hit me up on Telegram and was asking me about whether Jesus died on the cross or not. I was like, what does it matter? Like that whole symbolism, him dying on the cross, is only a thing because it's meant to say he died for our sins, which now makes him God, the source, and that we need to worship him. So, and the truth is, we don't even know if he existed for real, for real. That's just a metaphor for something else. We don't know that. We getting all this shit from a book. I personally believe he existed for real. I just don't believe he's God any more than you God or Omondi your God. Like he's the same as us. He just understood what we are now understanding. He understood that since birth.
Yeah, I think
And so,
I think you know what it is. I think people are at a point where they're asking themselves the questions because you hear these things
mhm,
because you may not
mhm,
consider yourself as being part of the spiritual community, but that
right.
doesn't mean you're not the frequency to hear these terms like spiritual
Hmm.
awakening and these things going on. Because I'm seeing as well some people they're talking about this stuff, but they're not. They just mention it as being the trend. And I think what
Hmm.
people, because obviously as a being, you're going to have your natural evolution. So what I think is happening is
Hmm.
a lot of people now find themselves basically asking questions like a question they never thought they would ask. Be like,
Hmm.
I just, and plus because of the way the world is, a lot of people say, oh, you know what, it's so shitty. Like, you know, life is expensive, da da da. You can't do everything
Hmm.
you want, or you can't do the thing you thought
Hmm.
you would be able to do it by
Hmm.
now. So they ask themselves, like, yeah, it doesn't seem that fun anymore. Is it because I'm grown out of this ideology
Hmm.
and it's purely my own evolution experience here? Or is
Correct.
it perhaps
yeah.
these guys that have been talking, these guys and these girls that have been talking about spiritual awakening, they may have had a point. So they're asking this question, and I think many
Hmm.
people find themselves following discreetly without showing that maybe to
Hmm.
the
Yeah.
family a certain spiritual
Yes.
community, and they asking this.
Right.
Yeah.
It sounds like a simple question, but it's a
Yeah.
question that has a lot of meaning because I was
Yeah.
explaining previously for me what it was. I had a burnout, but that's because I
Hmm.
was working in an industry, the music industry, where it was basically sweatshop working, factory working, which you produce a lot of tracks without
Hmm.
even wanting you to want to produce track. And when I started doing music, I just wanted to be creative when I feel like being creative, not because I have
Right.
to
Right.
now
Right.
meet
Yeah.
expectation, right? So it felt
Yeah.
very
Because
unnatural.
that's the only way it
Right.
works.
And then I was
Yeah.
making money,
Yeah.
but me and Shem were making money at the time, but we were like, we're not willing to do this stuff these people are asking us to do. And
Hmm.
it became not fun. And I didn't
Yeah.
know that was part of my spiritual awakening and also my growth,
Hmm.
personal growth, right?
Right. Right.
But then at the time, I didn't ask myself the question necessarily. I always was someone that was in spirituality in terms of how I viewed myself in
Yeah.
conjunction to a religion, because I was never someone who was like, even though I had a Catholic
Into.
background and didn't
Mhm.
give a shit about it at all. Like it wasn't like, I
Right.
was like, yeah, whatever. I never really gave too much of a, and plus when you Catholic, you have the luxury to not to not have to turn up. It's a bit different. Like
Oh
when
yeah,
you're a Christian,
yeah, yeah.
the expectation
No,
can be a bit,
Yeah.
it's a bit
Catholicism is the
more
most
flexible,
easy one to do because you can do what you want to do. You
right?
don't have to ever
But
show up for months, and you still Catholic.
right, but I had to still. Obviously, I did my communions and all that stuff back then,
Mm-hmm.
but I didn't. Once I reached certain age, it was like you do what you want, right? No one's gonna.
Right,
You're
right,
not. No
right,
one's gonna ask you why you didn't turn up to church on Sunday, right?
right, right,
But
right.
because I was never into that, and I always was into existential questions. So
Mm-hmm.
my life was always reflecting that. However, I had this burnout, and I was associating it to work, not to part of my growth and also part of my
Mm-hmm.
spiritual growth. However, when I look back and all the event that took place then, I realized, yeah, I was going through a spiritual awakening. Had I
Right.
knew that, perhaps I would have fast tracked certain things. And I think people were thinking like, if that is the case, maybe I need to dive into
Mm-hmm.
these communities and find out a bit more information about it. And I think that's why people are essentially asking these questions.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how do you
Yeah.
know? How do you know?
Well,
I don't think it's anything wrong with asking these questions. I just
Mhm.
think that don't depend on anybody else for the answer.
Well, yeah, there's an
Because the answer is in you. It's already there.
yeah,
There ain't no spiritual community.
right.
First
There,
of all, I'm getting
yes.
away from that whole we a community of people who are enlightened and everybody else ain't. No, it's the people who are awake and the people who are asleep. And the people who are asleep are only asleep because they choose to be asleep. They can be awake just like us. We're not unique.
Yeah.
There is nothing unique about anything that we are doing. It
Right.
is special because we decided to come here and do this in a time where everybody else is asleep. But we ain't unique. Every single person walking, every soul that is currently in here in all 13 realms has the same ability to do what we doing right now.
Yeah.
So
It's just whether you choose to do it or not.
You know what I hear the underpinnings underneath that is
Mhm.
there's an undertone of am I doing it right?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
if there
yeah.
and if there is an undertone of am I doing it right, then I would suggest you may still you may want to examine that because you might still be in an older mindset of like
Correct. What's right?
Yes, what's right as defined by my family, by my
Yeah.
religion, by
Who's going
my
to decide? Am I
institutions.
doing it right? Who
Exactly.
decides?
so
Because if you're looking for the reason how to do it right, then that implies you're looking somewhere other than yourself, which is already the
Correct.
wrong answer.
Correct.
so if you had, okay, so let's be practical about this. So if you had,
Sure.
let's say 7 signs you would just give someone that you know for sure when you go through these things, you can't mistake that it's your awakening.
Yeah.
What would
Yeah.
you say was for you?
First ones, I just started asking questions. And so
The
I'm not,
uncomfortable
I don't
questions
just,
even.
yes, I don't disparage people from asking questions. I just want to make sure you're asking because you want answers, not because you want the old programming to show up.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Like you really want to, you're asking these questions because you see that it ain't right. Or are you asking these questions because you really want to validate old programming and you want to make sure that matches with this? And so it's a two different ways of question. Me, I was asking questions because I said this shit is not you. The first thing I understood, I knew I was on a different path is when I started saying to myself, something ain't right. Something don't feel right.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Something
Yeah, it is.
energetically and frequency wise is off with me every day. So yeah.
It's like you've spent your life walking in
Mm-hmm.
a circle, like everybody's out in a prison yard or something, and you haven't bothered looking up, and then once you glance up and you're like, wait a minute, like what's this big blue thing up here? You know, like you see the sky and you realize it goes beyond the fence that you're next to.
Yeah.
And that's what triggers it from there, you know, because you're like, wait, if that goes, what's out there? Because that goes out there. It's a genuine kind of, you know, like curiosity. You're starting to examine yourself.
Yeah, you get on YouTube and start looking up weird shit. That's when you know you're starting to come out. Like you like, you start getting on YouTube like, and you don't mind. And this is the thing. The second thing, and I'm gonna go ahead and let y'all go, is you stop caring what people think.
Yeah,
that is
that'll
so important to the awakening, because as long as you're worried about what your family think or your friends or whatever, you are going 90% chance you are going to align with that because you don't want to be judged. The minute you stop caring about this, minute you stop judging, you're going to stop caring about judgment. And when that happens, brother, the whole shit just start popping off. And then you're like, oh shit, I'll go down this rabbit hole. I don't care what people think. Like people was calling me crazy I remember in probably the 2010s, the flat Earth thing became a real thing people was
Mm-hmm.
talking about. Like it was a whole little subject. My friends was getting in arguments with people,
Yeah.
and I sat back and I'll never forget because this was all happening on like Twitter. I sat back and I said, I'm not gonna say the Earth is round, but I'm not gonna say that I know for sure it's flat. I'm also not gonna say I know for sure that it's round because ain't none of us
Mm-hmm.
been higher than 30,000 feet in the air if you've been on an airplane. That's as high as you've been up. So you don't know, you in this walking around flesh suit do not know what the earth looked like. Everything
Mm-hmm.
you know is based off something somebody told you. And I had tweeted that and everybody was calling me a flat earther. And I was like, bro, I literally just said, I
Yeah.
don't know. And so getting to that point where you're not worried about judgment, that's a huge part of your awakening process.
Right.
For me,
Yeah.
there was some clear, if yeah, there was some clear signs. Like when I look
Mm-hmm.
back, I remember one thing as well, just feeling like I'm not from here. Do you know how many times I was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
because there's no
Mm-hmm.
way I'm like these motherfuckers.
What?
Yes.
I'm
Ain't
even
nothing
got
like
down
these
to
people.
even feeling like I was like looking at some of my family members and I was like, me and you aren't from the same clan. Like where
Yeah.
that was one of the first things as well. It was like what, and then I was start seeing them and the action for what it is, and was like, what's going on? Like I really don't resonate with these people.
Dude, I felt
And-
like a behind enemy lines for a lot of that time.
Right.
My family was a hostile entity.
and the need as well to always saw like fight as well, like fight back every time I felt like there was an infringement. I always had that nature anyway growing up as a kid, but I kind of like when they make sure you docile and you don't really because you're a kid, because you can just kind of it feels like they can control you.
Yeah.
But as soon as I got back into my teenage years and young adult years, I was like, no, that is not on. There was no way. And these are the things I realized, I was having an awakening back then, because I wasn't willing to take any shit really. And,
Right.
and it was to a point where it's like, people were like, oh, you shouldn't say anything. I was like, no, I'm going to say something.
I'm going to say
Yeah,
something.
I'm going to say something. This stuff
You
like,
can't say that.
yeah. And so that was going basically me going against authority and obsessions as well, starting having certain obsessions about certain things, whether it's NDE or anything about cosmic origins. This was playing on TV at the time, these like
David Icke.
David Icke, these
Yeah.
documentaries,
Yeah.
and I was watching these things specifically portraying to anything galactic and how these structures have been made here and stuff like that. So I was already looking at that, and then now I'm realizing, this stuff people are talking about now. Back then, I was already watching these things previously, and I was like obsessed about it. So I was like, this was a sign I was awakening. When you do stuff that may look obsessive to somebody else, usually it's because you saw as a way to tell you, hey, look at that, but not in a way that just watch it, but like wake up.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
stuff like that. And
I would say you even, just to jump in real quick, you were touching on something else that I'd say is a great sign too, an overall dissatisfaction with the way that life is presented to you. Being like, this is dumb.
This is not it. This ain't it. This is not it. This can't be it. Yeah. I remember saying that to myself one time, like looking in the mirror and be like, this can't be it.
Yeah.
This cannot be it.
And
bro.
guys, also another one, feeling you can't die. Like the strong feelings like somewhat, I can't die.
Like it does not compute.
Yeah.
It don't compute.
I've always felt it like, I've said this before publicly. Growing up, I never felt like I was going to get old, and I never felt like I was going to die.
Mm-hmm.
Now that sounds crazy. Well, how are you not going to do one of the two? In come this event that is this event that's supposed to happen. And then when Darius told us about it in the small group, I was like, that's why I've always felt like that. That's why I always felt like, I was like, I'm never going, I could not, some people can picture what it's like at their death. Like they going to be old, surrounded by their grand. I never seen that.
Yeah, me either.
No vision, no imagination, no dream, no nothing. I never seen it.
Dude, I haven't seen myself older than what this currently looks like. Yes. This is as old as I've seen myself.
About as old as I've seen myself, like dead ass.
Yeah,
and so
I'm not getting jowls. I'm not. I don't have turkey neck.
I can't see myself
this is as far as I can.
like that. I can't see it happening.
Yeah,
like And so, yeah, no, I feel you. Like, I know something is happening.
I don't
I
know.
just didn't know what it was back then. I thought it was like the rapture. You know, you get into the church and stuff, and they teach you that rapture doctrine foolishness. And then the alien people say, "Oh no, it's the Pleiadians that's gonna come take us, whisk us away to some place." And so I don't know if any of that is what it is, but I know there is something that is going to happen in our lifetime that is going to be construct defining. I'll just say that it's going to be
Mm-hmm.
construct defining. It ain't just for realm one; it's for all the realms. Like it's what goes on here reverberates all the way up and out. So
I think we answered that question.
Yeah, I hope that helps you.
I hope that helps.
Yeah.
They're gonna have to follow their intuition as well. So that's part of
Yes,
it. You follow your
that
intuition.
is it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just follow your intuition.
Yeah.
If it feels wrong, then don't go. If going left feels wrong, then go right.
Yeah.
And vice versa.
And it
Like,
doesn't matter if
no,
everybody else is going left.
it don't
If you
matter
feel like you
what
need to go right,
nobody
go
else
right.
doing. Exactly.
Remember
You're an
that you
autonomous
wrote,
soul.
like, you planned all of this out before you got here. It's
You're
there.
walking
Just
out a plan. You're
trust,
just walking out a
trust.
plan.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
So just trust that you know where you're going.
Yep.
Yeah.
You got yourself.
If you have any questions, you can email us. The link is in the description. And send your question. You don't have to leave a name. It doesn't matter. And we'll do our best to answer that. So on that note, thank you. Thank you, Blessed. Thank you, Corey.
Yes.
Sorry
No
I was
problem.
late
Ciao.
again, but I felt like this was really good.